on GoSuffolkRams.com. From Boston, Massachusetts, welcome to Suffolk Sounds, the official show for Suffolk University Athletics. Hello and welcome to Suffolk Sounds. My name is Cam Brennan. You can follow me on Twitter at Cam_Brennan1. That's CAM_BRENNAN and the number 1. That's how you can find me and interact with me on social media. As for today's show, we have Suffolk head women's basketball coach Ed Leyden. I sit down with Coach Leyden in an exclusive one-on-one interview, and that's what you can expect on today's episode of the podcast. We will give you fan access that you never thought you'd get to before. We'll have conversations with people that matter to you, and we'll get perspectives from those that have close ties to the Suffolk Athletic Department. And you're going to get that all here on the Suffolk Sounds podcast. Now, with that being said, let me get back to Coach Leyden. Coach Leyden enters his 27th season at the helms of the women's basketball program. Coach Leyden has been at the head of the Rams program for just under 700 games, collecting 5 GNAC Conference Coach of the Year awards in the process. He has guided the 12 of the program's 16 athletes to the 1,000-point club, along with the 26 excellent seasons. Today we will talk about the progression of the program under Leyden, reflect on the past seasons before, and what awaits the Rams in the CCC. This interview starts now. Coach Leyden, thank you for sitting down with me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Cameron. This is my first podcast. I'm excited.
I know, it's a great experience for everyone when I get all the new coaches on. I first want to ask you, when everything in March kind of came to fruition where everyone was sent home when quarantine and whatnot, I wanted to ask you, what was your quarantine routine per se? I know for myself, I maybe sharpened my cooking skills a little bit. Other coaches talked about how they really took advantage of the exercise opportunity. What were some of your quarantine routine over this past summer?
I would love to tell you that I was really productive and that I read the great novels of our time, and I painted a picture and whatever. But to be quite honest with you, it was a lot of nothing, a lot of frustration. My house is usually a perennial haunted house. It's always the only house on the street that needs a lot of work to be done because the owner of the house is recruiting somewhere or at a basketball court somewhere. So I was forced to finally do some of the projects around my house. So my neighbors, I think, were a little bit happy that we weren't such an eyesore. It made me slow down. I think that's good. I'm not sure if that's good. And maybe spend a little bit more time with my family. And my family probably wished the pandemic was over so that I wouldn't spend so much time with them. But a lot of nothing. What can I tell you?
Yeah, Coach, I agree with you there. Kind of do a couple things and then you realize, oh, what else do I have to do, right? Now, switching over to the basketball side of things, you are one of the most tenured staff of the Suffolk Athletic Department, and I want to just get to know how you landed at Suffolk, first of all, whether it be you got your start at another college or university, or whether it be just coming from a daytime job and just wanting to coach basketball.
I can't remember. It's been so long. I started coaching at Revere High School. We had some decent amount of success. From there, I went to Reading High School to be closer to my home in North Reading. Working a basketball camp at Harvard. Somehow I got requested to apply for a Tufts job that was an interim job. Surprisingly, I got the job, completed the year, loved Division III, loved the commitment of people who were passionate about what they did. Thought I was done. Next, I ran into Dennis McHugh, who was the assistant men's coach here. And his sales pitch to me was, Suffolk women's position is open. You can't fail. It can only go up. I interviewed for the job, and 20 or so years later, I'm still here. So that's the short version. I never planned on this, and it's been a great little run.
I have to agree with you. I think it has been a great run. And with that, all that time that you've mentioned before, there has to have been maybe some sort of change within the athletic department. I know that in previous podcasts, I've spoken to other coaches how the Ridgeway building has seen a massive improvement. The facilities has seen a massive improvement. Even the different types of students that are attending Suffolk and being student athletes of Suffolk has changed. What would you say was your biggest notice that you've seen in the change of the athletic department? What has changed within the athletic department since your time at Suffolk?
Well, all of those things that you said. I mean, when Miller Hall was built, that changed everything. All of a sudden, we could recruit New England. I think that we were able to get a higher academic student, so that opened up doors. Coach Nelson, Coach McConnell really put pressure on to have full-time, professional, hardworking coaches. So now we're surrounded by such a young, aggressive, professional group of coaches. Athletes, the the quality of athlete, the commitment of athlete has just ridiculously improved over the years. The backing from administration, the connection with the university has been night and day. So it's been a surprise. It's been a shock to see old Suffolk University changed into such a dynamic, aggressive, positive athletic force. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and I think that change not only stems from overall, but I think it affects each program within Suffolk a little bit differently. I know we talked to Anthony Del Preti and Jay Parker, who have strong ties to the baseball program and have that changed. But specifically for you, what evolution did you see with the women's basketball program, whether it be in the ways that you're recruiting, whether it be the individual opportunities that you have within the women's program? What were some of the big changes that you saw within your program specifically from that evolution?
Well, again, we've been swept up in the whole growth of the athletic department. I mean, when I first got to Suffolk, Coach Nelson was the athletic director. We had a full-time baseball coach. We had a full-time softball coach, and the rest of us were all part-time. There was no recruiting budget. We had very little contact with admissions. We had no contact, very little contact with financial aid, and it was really kind of a throwback program. And now, all of a sudden, we're expected to go out and recruit. We're expected to hold our own within the department. The change from the GNAC to the CCC was a clear sign that athletics are important. The administration has really brought us in and sees the value of a vibrant athletic department. So it's really been night and day. And for me, I've been just trying to hold my own, which we've been trying to build a competitive program. And I've learned so much uh, from the new full-time coaches, Jeff and Jackie, have been great as far as kind of keeping me up with the time. So it's been great.
I agree with that a lot actually, where having all those different coaches and all those different minds coming together will definitely enhance every program, let alone just one. Now, you mentioned before seeing all these different types of seasons. Has your approach for every season changed per se? Do you go into every single season with the expectation of we're going to shoot for 15 wins every single season? Do you base your approach on the student athletes that you have available to you? Do you base it on the uh, conference schedule that you have, or whether it be individual types of different details here and there? Does your approach change from every season, or do you go into every season per se with the same mindset of we're going to play this certain way and we're going to hope for this amount of wins? How does your approach change or not?
Well, times change. I mean, there are certain basics that you go in. You know, it's really hard to win a game. It's not easy to win a game. It's really hard to build a team. So we really spend a lot of time on teamwork and unity, and that spills into defense. Uh, if you've got people that defend and do the hard things like rebounding, you've come a long way as far as building a team. And then we try to really teach the ABCs. Really try to be fundamental and simple and try to have a competitive team. I never think of a number. I just try to build a team. I try to have a good practice, and we try to win a game. We just try to keep things as simple as we possibly can, um, and have a lot of fun with this. This has to be an experience that is fun, and that's kind of what we try to do. We try to build a team from the ground up, and we try to have a lot of fun with this stuff.
Absolutely. And I think having that overall maybe childish aspect of going out and playing the game for fun leads to success, regardless whether or not there are numbers in the win and loss column. Now, again, your success through the Suffolk women's program is well noted. In 26 seasons, the women's program has only posted 4 losing seasons, which is an incredible accomplishment within itself. But I wanted to ask, how do you keep up with the such high competitive level for this women's program, whether it be recruiting the certain type of athletes you want, whether it be what you talked about, teaching the fundamentals of the game and the ABCs, or is it something that you within yourself try to instill within the program itself? What do you think is your keys to keeping Suffolk at such a high level of competition over these many years?
Well, you have to understand that it's a player's game. You've got to get good players. The players are the ones that win the games, that put the ball in the basket. So the next step is you've got to do everything humanly possible to recruit really good people, people that you're going to want to be with on the court for the next 4 years, and also skilled people. So recruiting is the whole lifeblood of college sports. And my whole philosophy with that is that I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm the first one on a Saturday morning at an 8 o'clock AAU game. Uh, at a high school game, I want to look around and see no one else in the gym. And that's the commitment that I'm going to do, is that I'm going to outwork people, out contact people, and bring in really good athletes, and then hopefully coach them a little bit, to go over the ABCs of the sport a little bit, and to really stress the team aspect of things. So we're trying to build a team. We're not trying to build a star. No, I was just going to say basketball is a team game, and it's a communication game. 5 kids, 1 ball. You really try to build teams, not stars.
And I think that's an idea that every coach would want to take from, rather than just having it the individual clusters of that same idea. You mentioned it before. The Rams are transitioning to the CCC from the GNAC after having great success within the GNAC after so many seasons and being competitive within the GNAC conference. I just wanted to hear from you. What are your maybe hopes from the team when we do get back to the court and do compete in the CCC? CCC, a great conference within itself, like the GNAC, may offer some different challenges as well. What are your hopes and expectations when we transition to the GNAC, or excuse me, from the GNAC to the CCC?
Well, I love it. I love the change. I think we're challenging ourselves. I think it's a very good league. I think it's deeper and more balanced than our previous league. Philosophically, we haven't. I haven't changed. We haven't changed. When we were in the GNAC, we just never considered ourselves just a GNAC team. We played 12 games in the GNAC, and we had 13 non-league games. Out of those 13 non-league games, we scheduled the hardest teams that we could play, and we wanted that challenge. We would always look for teams that were a fair fight for us, or a team that was maybe a step or two above us. We like the idea of the challenge. We like the idea of this league. The top teams in this league are well coached. They have solid programs. They recruit really well, and we want to challenge ourselves with that. It'll be interesting to play teams twice in the season. I think that's going to be a real challenge, but I like it. I think that's the way of the future. I thought it was a bold decision by Coach McConnell, and I think long range, it's going to force each one of us to get better and to work at it.
And I look forward to seeing that challenge and embrace when we do get back to the court over the next coming months, or whenever we do hit the floor again. Coach, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Cam. I appreciate your interest. I really do. Thank you.
Ram Nation, if you like what you heard today on the Suffolk Sounds podcast, be sure to visit our website, GoSuffolkRams.com. That's GoSuffOlk.com, where you can find all you need to know about Suffolk athletics. While you're at it, be sure to follow the Rams on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the same name for an insider's look. Don't forget to subscribe, like, rate us, leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to the Suffolk Athletics official show. Send in your questions. Who would you like to hear from, whether it be a player or a coach? Well, be sure to bring something new to every single show. In fact, be sure to tune into the next episode where we talk to Suffolk head cross-country and track and field coach Will Feldman. Until then, I'm Cam Brennan. Talk to you soon, Ram Nation. This has been Suffolk Sounds. Don't forget to subscribe, like, rate, and review however you listen to your podcast.